number plate I've ordered this morning to get that as well. It's a low mileage one. Oh, bloody birds again! Oh, watched this yesterday, and look at that. There he is. Honest to God.
This video is sponsored by TUZA. Now, if you're looking to save money in business, one of the easiest ways to save money is checking out the rates of your card terminal machine. Or if you're a new business looking to get a card terminal machine, then make sure you check out TUZA. Now, I've had many card terminals over the years, and having to ring up different providers, give all your details again and again to try and compare rates is an absolute faff. Now, TUZA is a comparison site. A bit like you would check out, you were going to find a car insurance quote. TUZA will find you the best quotes for your card terminals, whether you're an existing or new business. Simply fill in a few details, and within 75 seconds you can have quotes from all the major operators in the UK and give you complete transparency of the rates you're paying and the fees involved. Everything is clear and transparent with no hidden fees, and you've only got to put those details in once to get access to the market. Click on proceed, and that provider will get in touch with you to arrange the setup. Now, they are saving customers money every single day, and for good reason, because nearly 90% of people who switch car providers will save money, which is why I recommend TUZA's service. With its easy approach to switching, I can focus more of my time on running my business. So if you're looking to cut costs in your business, or maybe you're looking to get hold of a new car terminal to start taking car payments, get yourself on TUZA. The link is in the description. Click on that link, get yourself over there and get saving today.
Morning all, welcome back to the channel, to the Car UK, and here at the car pitch in Cheshire. So what has been happening over the last week or so? Let's do a bit of a roundup about what's come in, what's sold, and what's been going on here at the pitch. Let's have a look around, eh? Right, well, it's Saturday morning, and again, like last Saturday, peeing down the rain. It's just about to start thundering down, so we'll see how far we get with the filming. I've got a mechanic in today, so we've got a bit of progress going on, which is good. Because we do need that, because we've got some sold cars that we desperately need to get out, and we've been having some issues with the last few bits and bobs, which I'll go through in a minute. And we'll have a quick look inside as well in the workshop as well when he can bother to open the shutters up. Right, there was not masses that has happened outside, if I'm honest with you, because this week we've mostly been focusing on trying to get rid of a lot of the sold cars we've had. We've had the Kia Rio go out, the little SR7 white one, that's gone out. We also had a little Clio as well, a little old-shaped Clio, which was plonked over here, which we sold at the beginning of the week. Now we had to rush that through because that needed a clutch doing, and it wasn't in prep either, so we had to get that through the workshop. That went out yesterday as well, so that's good news. But that really did sort of mess the week up a little bit, because we were having to rush around to get that sorted. We had loads of problems again with clutches, trying to get bloody clutches matched up at the moment. It's an absolute nightmare. We had about 3 wrong clutches for it, so that didn't go down too well, but we got there in the end. C-Max, that is near enough ready. That's a sold car that should have probably gone out yesterday, but now we're on for Monday for that. Thrown up another late issue this has. We've done quite a lot to this, as we mentioned in one of my previous videos. We've done cam belt to it, it's had a clutch done to it. It's a proper prep car, that, for what it is for an £1,850 vehicle. But last few little jobs to do on it. One is the key. We need to refurb the key. One of the central locking's working on the door, and it's working on the key bar, the unlock button, which fell to pieces, so I'm going to take it down to an electrician down the road just to get him to solder a button back on. But that's it there. But the other thing, major one, is seatbelt. It's got a problem with the passenger seatbelt. We thought we fixed it, we sent it off to MOT, it passed, and then it started playing up again. It's starting to try to jam. So rather than just try and take it apart and start again, try to fix it, it just, it's not going to work, is it? Let's face it. We don't want it going wrong again. So now we need to rush and get a second-hand belt. And this is the problem we've got, actually. One of the few issues we have locally here, which is quite strange, because we've got quite a lot of resources in Crewe. It's quite a big place. You've got a lot of garages, you've got a lot of people in the trade. Always a handy place. It's quite a central place as well. But there's no real good scrap yards around here. And it's probably a thing that you'll probably see a lot across the country now. Good old-fashioned traditional scrap yards just seem to have disappeared. So you say there's only one here, and it's a little bit of a part-time place. It doesn't have much in, so it's not great, to be honest with you. And we have got a bigger scrap yard, but it's about 20 odd miles away. It's a bit of a trek to send one of the lads out, especially when you're busy, to go and get stuff out like this. Or alternatively, go online. But online obviously is great. You can get lots of stuff. It's brilliant eBay. It's probably one of the reasons that scrap yards have, becoming a bit defunct. But it's just time. If you order one today, you could take 3 days to get it, and that's if you're lucky. But anyway, trip to the scrap yard on Monday and get a belt for that and get it fitted, and we can finally get that out to the customer, which is good. Pleased with that, because actually that car was probably that far away from going to a scrapyard. As in when we bought, went to the auctions, it could have literally had one last life probably. If that, it might have crawled on for a while, but it needed a clutch as well. The belt was literally about to fall off it. That could have been a car that might have lasted 5 or 6 months, and someone would have probably binned it off. But now it's got a good fair few years left in it, which is great to see, and obviously for the customer as well. Someone keeps messaging me. Anyway, not much else really happened, if I'm honest with you. I've got another 107 that's come in, which I bought, and so I've just literally stuck it here for now because it does need prepping. It does drive very well, but it does need a bumper corner doing, only minor, which I've done. Number plate I've ordered this morning to get that as well. It's a low mileage one. Oh, bloody birds again! Oh, watched this yesterday, and look at that. There he is. Honest to God. One of you's mentioned about getting a hawk or a bird of prey, like a statue. I'm going to put on that wall up there. I'm going to order one in a minute. I've had enough now because it's frustrating. On black cars as well. Ooh, worst cars to wash. Black cars. Mind you, it is raining, so it'll probably help me a little bit. Anyway, so I'm going to clean the cars this morning. We're back onto the 107. It's just arrived, so I've just stuck it here for now. We're going to get the bumper corner done on Monday. I'll leave it on site for now, just in case we get any bites on the weekend on it. Once a few tyres on it, I think I've ordered all new tyres for it. Service kit, the usual stuff. We underseal these and stuff like that. I've gone over this many times, what we do with these. We know these like back of our hand. It's a good one. 26.95. It's done about 70,000. Sadly, not facelift. It's for the older shape one, but it doesn't matter. It's priced accordingly, and they're sort of cars you can just buy and use and abuse for years and years and get cheap motoring out of. That's what people are wanting at the moment, cheap motoring. Loads of people are just changing out big daft cars that are £400-500 of tax and costing you, doing 20-30 miles to the gallon round town. Something like this, which is 20 quid or free in some cases, and can do 50 to the gallon and are super reliable, and they can just fling around anywhere and have not much care in the world. There's your back bumper, and that's literally all it is. Just that little bit of a bumper corner wants doing. It's a little bit edgy here. It's been repaired before. I can see where it's been repaired. It just wants doing properly. Flatten back, just blending in. Don't need the old bumper doing. You just do that bumper there and lose it into that back bumper. So we'll probably get that done at some point, unless we sell it beforehand. And someone's not bothered about that. But to be honest with you, I'd rather just get it done. Not much on my Hyundai I've had in, my iX20. Usually these things drive a lot of interest, but it has been quiet, so maybe that's more the case. But we've had a few people looking at it, but no real firm interest, no test drives as of yet. So that's a bit of a disappointment there. One car we've had have a bit of interest in, which is strange because it's not actually for sale, and it's now kicked me into touch to doing something about it, is the Ford Fusion. We've had a subscriber on who's really interested in buying this Fusion. It's a 1.4 diesel, as we've mentioned before on the channel. I give 500 quid for it. This is a proper throw the dice car. It's got injector fault. Mentioned it before. Injectors are ordered, but they want to put a deposit down on it, and they're really interested in it. But I don't want to take a deposit just yet because, like I said, I want to get it up and running. It's only running on like 2.5 cylinders at the moment because the injectors are knackered. So I don't want to start taking money off people and letting them down. So anyway, we're going to get them injectors hopefully early next week. Get them fitted. Go out and proper run in it, and then we can assess it properly. And hopefully, only 60,000 miles on. I'm not expecting a bit of a turkey underneath. That it will be good enough to be able to retail. So we'll see. We'll come back to that one shortly. People keep asking why my car is here. This is my car, but it's not my current car. I've had this car for many years. This is a Maserati Ghibli, and I am going to do a video on this probably tomorrow. I'm going to film it. I keep saying this, but I am generally going to do it because there's a reason why I'm going to be doing a video on it, because obviously it's going to be departing with me soon. But I will do a video on these because they are very interesting cars. They get a lot of mistruths about them, and I think it might surprise you, my ownership, how well it's gone. And I'll give you some sort of tips and stuff on buying them, what you need to look out for, stuff like that. More in-depth detail about the Ghibli, because like I said, I've owned these for years and I've worked on this one and others as well. So I will do a video on that. But it's here anyway. The point of the question, why is it here? It's here because I'm not using it, because I bought another car, another Maserati, and I'll probably do another video on that in the future. But to be honest with you, I don't film stuff like that a lot. I'm not saying I don't like filming more sort of exotic cars, shall we say. I'm happy to do that, but I just don't want to be sort of the channel that bombards you with filming Bentleys and Porsches and Maseratis and all that stuff, which I can get hold of in abundance if you wanted that stuff to be creating content wise, because I've got lots of contacts who've got that sort of stuff. But that's not what I deal in. I deal in the bread and butter, the vanilla, the real end of the motor trade market, particularly this sector, which is, to be honest with you, under £5 grand this market here is really neglected. Probably one of the only few dealers in Crewe is actually selling this type of vehicles. You'll get some people who sell bits and bobs like this, but they're not really selling on, oh no, their game is purely under £5,000. They'll have a mixed bag of vehicles with a few little bits like this, which for me at the moment is good, because it's quite like selling this stuff, because at the moment this is the market that's actually doing really well. Although you wouldn't think that this week, because it has been rather quiet, to be fair. What else is landed? We've got here, we've got Corsa. What is this Corsa? This is back from paint. So this is a 2013 63 plate Corsa. It's a 1 litre Corsa. It was not in great of nick when it came in here. It had a running fault with it, which has been rectified. Chain issue, typical Corsa. It was really bad, the chain. Managed to save the engine. It was in pieces, the chain, but we managed to get it all back together and with a new chain kit on it, and it didn't cause any damage, which was very lucky, to say the least. But there we go. So it's all up and running. Drives actually really well. It did have a horrible damage here. It had a really nasty mark here, and also was caught on this bumper as well. So I've had that all repainted. So that's all been redone. It's just got it back from paint. So I need to get on with that, cleaning it now. Interior in it is absolutely awful. We have made some start on it, or you wouldn't believe it. I was just going to rip the interior out of another Corsa I've got over there, a spare one. But to be honest with you, these seats, I've done a little bit of a test patch somewhere on the back here, because that was the worst bit, was over here in this corner. And I've just done a little test patch there to see if it comes up, and it's all coming out. So it just wants a real proper hoover out, proper wet vac deep clean with the machine. Which is a bit time consuming, but needs to be done, because you'll never get all that out, and get it all mint again, and get all the carpets up, redye the carpets. He wants a proper gutting, but it will make a car underneath all this crap. But so he done, and this car's only done about 50,000 miles, by the way. Someone's just not looked after it really. Internally they've just treated it like a skip, but we can make it a car again. And say it drives well at the moment. We just need to finish off a few little bits. Steering wheel, replace that, because that was horrendous, and I mean horrendous. I've had a run on steering wheels at the moment. People seem to be bringing me cars that have had steering wheels eaten, and that was another one. So I got another one off eBay. Quite tricky to find, because you need to get one that's not got the buttons on here for your cruise control or your stereo systems, because otherwise, if you put a normal steering wheel on, which I could just take out of another Corsa I've got scrap, the issue will be to get people pressing the buttons going, it's not working, why is it step? And he hasn't got that tech, that tech in there in order to use it on the steering wheel. So you had to find one that was effectively not got those buttons on, and also the ones that have got those buttons on are usually level bound as well, so they don't wear as bad. So consequently, you're trying to find one of these that aren't leather bound, and near enough 90% of them look horrendous and are all worn away. So it was really hard to find one of those that was in decent nick. I had to pay a pretty penny for it. I had to pay about 60 quid for that, which is ridiculous for a steering wheel on a Corsa, when you could probably get a normal steering wheel leather boundy one for about £20. But there we go. Anyway, so we're going to get that on sale soon. That will fly out the door once we've got it cleaned up, because it's a 1 litre, it's £35 road tax. I've got a list as long as my arm of people who want Corsas, who've been asking for weeks and weeks. So you go through that motion first of going back through that list and saying, this has come in, is this any interest to you? And failing that, we just put a price board in it, stick it on the corner, and it will sell. But my God, it needs a clean. Other things briefly have come in. We've already mentioned the Chevy, that's here now. I'm just trying to get some workshop space sorted so we can get that in and get that on the ramp, get that exhaust done, because it sounds like an absolute Churchill tank at the moment. Wheels off, send them away, get them powder coated, because they're horrible and all sort of, well, they're just too far gone to, just having a light little touch up job. They need a proper going over, stripping back and redoing. They need doing. They're horrible. Get some new sensors for it, but that's a very cheap car. It's not going to roll a lot when that's done, to be fair, so I'm quite pleased with that one. Just need to get it in. Two other new arrivals which I've not touched literally since they've arrived: an i10 and a Mini. The i10, bread and butter stuff. This we need to do on this is doesn't actually need any paint, just needs some cosmetic stuff doing. So like really strange things like the door trims are all horrible and faded, so we'll just redo them. We'll have we don't replace them. We've got use a particular type of acrylic plastic bumper paint we use, which we've used a few times on 500s and stuff. It comes up really well. So we'll just strip them back and just redo them on the car. It's easier than trying to just take them off and all the glue comes off and you have to try and find and match them up. This side isn't too bad actually, but we'll have to redo that side. Little scratch in the door there, but I'm hoping that will buff away without needing to go to paint. Again, the birds have been hitting the car. But yeah, over a few little light scratches, which I've had a go at, and some of them are coming out, so I don't think it's going to need any paint, hopefully. I'll have a proper look around it when we cleaned it. But anyway, it's got a brake problem, needs some brakes sorting out on it. It was a cheap car, I bought it off a mate of mine for not a lot of money, and the sort of thing that we sell in abundance, these i10s, and it will make a car. People look at it and think, are you sure that'll make a car? Does it look like a piece of scrap to me? And you know, when at the end of the day, one man's muck is another man's treasure. I know that will turn into a decent car, as you'll see in the next week or two, when it goes on sale, all being well, and looks a different vehicle, and something that someone can use for, you know, probably $2.5 grand car that someone can use for many years and enjoy and get a bit of cheap motoring out of. Other one, little Mini we've had in as well. This is an old Trident engine Mini, as I would call them. So this is a pre-2007 model, so for this conception was 2001 to 2000, late 6-7, with the older Chrysler engine in, which is a very good engine. Some of the early ones had weak gearboxes in, although they did rectify that later on in the range, so like about 2004, 5, 6, that sort of era. The boxes changed. I can't remember the exact code of them, but they did change the boxes because the early ones were weak. But other than that, really, they're all right. Not bad news. It's when you get to the later ones that they seem to have engine problems because of the nature of the design of that engine, that Prince engine they used. So we don't mind these, but obviously you've got to contend with other things on there. You've got to appreciate this is 20 years old now, that Mini. 20 years old, yes. And you're going to have issues underneath, potentially, of corrosion, stuff like subframes and stuff like that. So you need to make sure it's not a rot box. And if it isn't, we need to get on with it, get it retailed, get it undersealed, clean it up. It doesn't look too bad on face value. It's got some decent tyres on it, it's had brakes on it, has been money spent on it. It's in red as well, and usually I wouldn't buy a red Mini, but I was assured that it had no lack appeal on it, which that's what really frustrates me with red cars, and particularly Minis of this age. And it hasn't, in fairness. It's not too bad, it's really clean. So what's the problem with it? Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. It ain't got much of a clutch. It barely crawls into life. But that's why I bought it. That's why it's been, you know, sent away to be, effectively it was scrapped. So a friend of mine who deals in breaker vehicles, he will occasionally ring me with something like this and say, look, I've got this car, it's not good enough for scrap. Do you want it for X many pounds? I think I gave about 400 quid for it. So I ain't going to complain, because I've got a Mini. Its mileage is done about 120,000, but for 400 quid it doesn't matter. For me, retailing it's 20-year-old Mini. They are what they are. Price it sensibly, it will sell. Put a clutch in it, someone will want to buy that, and at the end of the day, it's 20 years old, so you're going to expect a few miles on something like this. But at the end of the day, if you price things properly, people will buy them. And on the flip side of that, even if I just put a clutch in that car, I could very easily trade that on for very little money. So you could literally buy a clutch for 70, 80 quid, whack it in, and I could probably draw £700 or £800 just trading it on if I didn't want to retail it. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, really, to be honest. The only thing that is a bit of a flag on it is having the time to physically put the clutch in, because at the moment we've had a massive run on clutches. I've got one in the workshop now, a Peugeot, which we've sold and we're putting the clutch in, sort of a proper last-minute thing we've been doing for a customer, because I've decided that the clutch was it just didn't feel right, and I thought, to be honest with you, what it's changing. It probably might have got away with it, but it just didn't sit right with me, and I'll show you more about that in a minute. And I've also got to the Clio this week. We've got the Kia Sportage inside as well in a minute. That's had a clutch and stuff put in it. Everything just seems to be clutch related. It's been a right pain at the moment. I have a right run on clutches. Lastly, over here, what we've got going, got my cash guy off my truck. This is the one that I still can't remember where I bought it from. No idea, can't remember. Anyway, that's not a retail car, by the way. Someone asked me if it's going to be retail. It's not. It's just a car that I bought ages ago, even before I came here, and I did some work on it, brakes and trapper ends and stuff, although you wouldn't believe it. It's been laid up now for a year or so. It needs a fuel pipe, what they called. Mine's gone blank. The purge valve. My mind's terrible today. It needs a priming grenade on where the fuel filter goes to. There you go, got there in the end, because it's leaking. So I've got one of those in. We're going to put one of those on. Got a new tailgate handle as well, go on it. Just clean it all up, get it for an MOT. I don't think it's retailable, to be honest with you. I might be wrong, I might be able to make it into a retailable car, but I just think, to be honest with you, because it's been stood for a while, and it's a diesel as well, I'd rather probably just trade it on. And I think I gave about 500 quid for it 18 months ago, so it's not exactly owe as much, and we've spent probably a couple hundred on it. So that's going to be probably a trade car. I got asked about that a couple of people, so that's why I mentioned it. Lastly as well, little Punto. I mentioned this briefly the other week, but I've not shown it yet. This is a 08 plate Punto automatic that I bought from Central Car Auctions, somewhere we're going to be visiting hopefully soon again, and I can show you how that setup works, that place. Like a hybrid auction setup where you can go and view the cars and you bid online for them, but you actually got a lot more access to vehicles than a typical online auction. But I say we'll cover that in another video. This was a bit of a throw of the dice job. However, I think it will pay dividends. So this is done 44,000 miles. It's an automatic Punto on an 08 plate. Does need a little bit of paint, back bumper, front bumper corner needs doing, and it has got horrendous squeaky noise when you start the engine up. Will start, but it's very tight in starting, should we say, and it's squeaking like a, well, I'll leave you to decide on that, but it's noisy, and it's down to the alternator. It's got an alternator fault, and it's a very common thing on these Puntos where effectively water somehow manages to drip onto the alternator, and it gets on the inside the actual bearing, seizes them up. Now this one's buried down the bottom there behind that pump, but that's the problem with this one. Someone really is keen to get hold of me today. So we need to get the alternator off, the belt off, and then we can start it back up, and then hopefully that noise will disappear, and we can obviously prove the theory that it's the alternator, which we know it is, it always is on these, and get that basically up and running, and then we go for proper driving it, because I haven't really driven it other than sort of round a yard, and it drove alright and went for the gears fine, but that's not the same as going on a proper run. Plus change that battery as well. I cannot abide those batteries. Euro Car Parts Special Leon batteries. I'm not saying you can't use cheap batteries, but there are cheap batteries and then there are cheap batteries, and that is too cheap to bother even putting on your car, because literally, I mean, as soon as they die once, you leave a light on one of these batteries, it will never start again. They just seem to be made of like the most porous materials going. So I don't like those, because if you sell that to a customer with one of those batteries on, if it goes dead, you know they're going to be on the phone to you. So I'd rather just change the damn thing for an half decent battery. Anyway, point being, it was about 580 quid this car, or thereabouts. It's not a lot of money for a car that's potentially 44,000 on automatic. If, and it is an if, you get it running, is easily worth £2,500. It's ridiculous an 08 Punto will be worth £2,500, but it's an automatic Punto with 44,000 miles on. It just is worth that. It's probably worth, actually on paper, according to Cap, a little bit more than that. But I'm not a greedy man. That would do me just nicely if we could obtain that for it. Needless to say, I've had loads of interest on it. People have been noticing it's auto and asking about it. So obviously I've got people queuing now trying to get first refusal on it, which you will, because we get asked about 3 or 4 times a day for autos, and we just don't have enough of them coming in. Anyway, let me show you briefly inside what's going on there. I'll get these shutters open as well, because my mechanic has still not opened the shutters for some reason, and we'll have a bit of a chat about what's going on inside. Right, briefly show you what's been going on in here. As you can see, the Kia Sportage is still here. We'll talk about that in a second. The Peugeot 207, this sold car, one of the last few cars we've got sold. We've got the C-Max going out in a few days, we just mentioned before. This is also going out in a few days as well. This needed a clutch. So basically this had quite a high clutch on it, quite a high bite on it. In the end, we were umming and ahhing whether or not to do it. We were driving it thinking, does it need a clutch, does it not need a clutch? And in the end I decided, actually, do you know what, if in doubt I'm just going to change it, because for us to do it, doesn't, other than the part, doesn't really cost anything, you know, labour wise, outsourcing or anything. We'll do it ourselves. Obviously time is money in the workshop, but it's cheap for us to do it, and it gives peace of mind to the customer, and I don't want it going wrong on the customer, which it probably would have done in 6 months time had we not done it as well. So the state of the clutch, I'll quickly show you. Actually, we'll come out of it. Anyway, here we go. Here's the clutch. Obviously the plate itself, and you can see why you've got a really high buy point there. So you're almost down to the rivets there. If you look on the opposite side, even worse. Now I'm amazed actually this was not slipping, and it generally was not slipping. And had obviously known it was this bad, we wouldn't have even contemplated possibly not changing it, because it was a high bite, but it wasn't slipping. So you always get a bit nervous that you might just be changing something for no good reason. But when you've got it almost, I mean, it's literally flush there with the rivet almost. Yeah, that's not good. So that was a good call by us as well. A little bit of scoring as well on that plate as well, which is not great. So we sorted it in the end. It was a solid flywheel as well, which was a bit strange. I would have thought it'd been a dual mass, which would have probably dented the budget a little bit. But it had a slower mass on it. There's quite a lot of options on these 207s later on. So some of them had DPF, some didn't. Even after 2008, some had dual masses, some didn't have dual masses. it's a right mixed bag of engines and boxes and DPFs and non-DPF versions, so this sort of area between 2007 and 2010. And then, nonetheless, it's done, been out and test drove it. It's pretty driving all right now, so we've got a nice little bite on it, and obviously a brand new clutch as well. Other than that, really, which is quite a big job, disc and pads, that's pretty much else we've had to do to it, to be honest, on the service. Didn't need too much, it had decent tyres on it, it had some other big jobs done to it, you could tell, on suspension over the years, or even recently, should I say. So that was it, really. It wasn't need too much other than that, really. The lights a little bit faded, we were going to give them a quick mop to get them back, and then that's it, we're done. We already actually had it MOT before we did the clutch, because we were trying to get it progressed through. We didn't want to be in a position where we were doing it all back to front this way, so we got it. We knew it was going to pass MOT, even with a clutch, nothing to do with the MOT, a clutch. So we got it tested, brought back here, and then obviously did the clutch afterwards as well. So that is now sorted. We can get it validated on Monday and get it out to the customer, providing that England don't win the Euros, in which case that looks like bank holiday Monday. I'm not sure how they're going to sit with that, because I might have a bit of revolt on my hands. My staff might not come into work, which should not be good. Finally, outside here, I'll show you this bad boy, KA. This has been floating around for the last few months. Actually had it on sale at one point, and it proper kiboshed me one morning, this did. So we had a customer on this, actually I think he was a subscriber, came down with his lad, he was interested in buying it, went out, test drove it, loved it. We've done so much work to this KA. It's another one of my brilliant purchases. That's a joke, by the way. KAs and 500s. I usually always have to do work to them, and that's given. We don't mind doing work to them. The last couple I've had have really been a pain in the arse. We had the white one, which we mentioned the other day, which is now on sale. I've had to pretty much do all sorts of that. This is the same. Axle on it, arms on it, just all sorts on it. Little faffy things I've had to have done on it as well. Central locking was playing up, we had to fix that. It's just so much needed doing to it. Anyway, we got there in the end, got it all fine, up and running, got a board in the window. It was £2,350, I think we had it up for. Guy came down, test drove it, loved it, and it does drive really well, in fairness. So then he comes in for the gate, this is probably about 3-4 weeks ago, parks it just here, gets out the car, chatting to my colleague about basically doing a deal, putting a deposit down on it, left the door open for about 5 or 10 minutes while they were chatting, and he's got an old battery on it, and it's flattened the battery, which is by the by, would have put a new battery on it anyway for him. However, it wouldn't restart, it would not restart, put a jump pack on it. Even the mighty top-on JS2000 couldn't get it going. It was just doing nothing. So then you start thinking, is it the starter motor seized up? So then we're there underneath trying to tap that away at that, seeing if that's the problem. Not that. It's not a battery issue. It's not a starter motor issue. Turns out to be an electrical fault issue, and the killing of that battery was the final straw. Maybe putting the jump pack on it might have just surged it a little bit and killed it, who knows. But the point being that it had a broken earth, and we had to get the auto electrician down. He managed to locate the faulty earths on it and fix it, and he also checked some others as well on the vehicle and found another one that was a bit, poorly, should we say, and he replaced that. So we had to put 2 new earth straps on it, sorted that out, and now it's up and running again, starting fine. Even sorted out a bit of an intermittent fault we're having with the doors as well. The central locking would play up and then work and then wouldn't work, and we fix it and it'd be alright again, and we thought we cracked it and it stopped working, and now it's fine. So that's all working as well. So it seems to have cured it. So hopefully now we can now finally get this back out on sale and hopefully sold. And the way I'm glad it's happened now, because if that had happened after you'd sold it, if they'd gone to a customer and died in the first few weeks, that wouldn't have been great, because we might have been in a position where I've probably had to refund them because it's been a major fault, and they'd be well in their right to do that. Plus, it could have been gone 100 miles away. It wouldn't have been great for the customer, it wouldn't have been great for us. So rather it's happened now, and we can fix it, and hopefully now we can actually sell it with confidence that we can sell it to someone and they can use it and abuse it and enjoy it, hopefully. But there we go. I say, last 2 these KAs and 500s I've had have just been horrible, and I sell them because they are popular and they are good sellers. More the 500s than the KAs, but you will sell a KA as well. They don't make as much money, but they will sell. And I have done a video on one of these, which I'm going to put out for you very soon, probably next few days, a buyer's guide of what to do when buying one of these 500s and KAs, what you need to look out for, more in depth, and going through pretty much everything on the cars that can go wrong, which is quite a lot, and you can weigh up whether or not you think they're worth bothering with. Finally as well, the old Kia Sportage, bit of a progress report on this. We've also now got the turbocharger off the car, so those of you updated on it, it basically come in as a non-runner, no drive whatsoever. It does start up the engine, but it had no drive. possibly a gearbox fault at first, we thought it might be. Then we took it apart, we saw in the last update video, the clutch has actually completely collapsed itself, knackered, so we've hoping that the gearbox isn't damaged. It doesn't seem to be the case from what we've sort of turning it around by hand and that. It seems alright, no damage or debris in there, the oil was alright in it, so I'm hoping we've got away with no gearbox issue. Anyway, we've got that built back up, but when we were checking over the vehicle, we also noticed an oil leak coming from the turbocharger, coming out of the pipe work. Anyway, we took it off, it's knackered. Internally the seal's gone. It's just cheaper to buy a reconditioned turbo. They're not expensive, you can buy one for about 250 quid reconditioned with a warranty. It's not worth messing about. So we've ordered that, that's coming in the week, and we can get that fitted. And once we've done that, we can actually get it off the ramp. It's a bit of a pain with being on the ramp, it's taking up space and it's a bit too long in the tooth really. But we can get it down the road, test drive it, and then go from there. Still miles away, to be honest with you. I've still got wheels to refurb on it. I don't know what it drives like yet. So we say we've still got quite a bit to go on that one. So it's nowhere near being ready. But there we go. There we go. It needs doing. It has to be done. And hopefully we can get that wrapped up next week off the ramp and get something else on and start getting some cars prepped and on sale, because I need to get probably, well, I want to target about 4 or 5 next week, 4 or 5 new cars to go on sale. Now I've already got a few lined up straight away, I know we're going on sale. I've got my Chevy, which we mentioned the other day, that one's going on. The KA we just talked about, there's 2. Corsa over there before, but that's free. I'll probably get that little i10 on for sale, so I can get 4 there, and I've probably got a few others as well that are at paint and stuff I've forgotten about that I can probably get up on sale as well. And also my latest purchase from G3 should be here as well. Those of you who didn't check out that video, check that out in the link description or at the end screen for that G3 auction, where we actually purchased 3 cars on that day, including a Corsa and a couple of Astras. So at least a couple of those hopefully can go on sale, and that's the plan anyway. Whether that happens, who knows? Anyway, to find out, to check out more of these videos as they land. So anyway, I think I'll wrap it up there, guys. Thank you for watching this one. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to the channel. Helps me out immensely, and I appreciate it. Thanks again. See you all soon.